I'm now joined by political historian Dan Cassino to talk more about this. So Dan, thank you for being here on Picks and Politics. Unprecedented, historic, so many words, uncharted territory, right? But let's talk about this because the timing of Thursday night's indictment really came as a surprise. We had heard from other reports that it could be weeks before an indictment. What do you think, in your expertise, maybe sped up the process here?
Look, the whole point of these grand juries is that they are entirely a black box. We have no idea what goes on inside there. Everything we had was just speculation. This was former President Trump saying he expected it last week. We didn't get it. Former President Trump was then saying, oh, this grand jury is actually great because they didn't want to indict me. And then we get the indictment down. These are supposed to be secret for a reason. We're not supposed to know what's going to happen with these grand juries. In fact, it's surprising we even know what's going on right now with the grand jury, even as much information we have.
So with the little information that we do have, right, no other former president has ever been indicted, so we are in this uncharted territory. What happens next?
So in terms of politics, right, former President Trump is going to use this as a way of campaigning, as a way of raising money, something we've already seen, where he's saying, I'm the victim here, and you all need to rally behind me. And that's been working pretty well for him. In terms of the legal side, what we're going to expect to see next is former President Trump surrendering to authorities, being booked exactly like anyone else. And to some extent, that's what you want to see. You want to see a justice system that's treating former President Trump, a current president or former president, exactly like everybody else. The problem is that he's not like everybody else. He is a former president. He is running for president again. And that puts us in this sort of uncharted territory. We have in the past, in 1920, had a presidential candidate actually running for office while in prison, in federal prison. I can't imagine that's going to happen here, but this is something that our system was not created to deal with.
Well, especially because it's a typical form of an indictment for a non-violent offense. He will go into court, have the arraignment, and then be released on his own recognizance. Is the possibility of what's going to happen?
That's almost certainly what's going to happen. There's no, under New York state law, because these are non-violent felonies, there is no alternative to the ROR.
So let me talk to you about exactly how you see this really impacting the 2024 presidential election, right? How do you see this playing out while he is facing charges, and we don't know if he's going to go to trial on that, whether or not be a plea deal. We just heard from Henry. How do you see a campaign moving forward?
So this actually, in terms of the Republican primary, is very good for former President Trump. Former President Trump's superpower is sucking all the air out of the room. And everyone's talking about him all the time. And as long as people are talking about him, he is winning. Because anyone else, Ron DeSantis, Nikki Haley, Chris Christie, who might run for president, on the Republican side, there's no one to cover them. They can't get any traction. If we're talking about the general election, this is almost certainly bad news. It's hard to imagine there's anyone who wasn't going to vote for former President Trump in 2024 who goes, well, now that he's indicted, now I think I will. So it's probably bad news for a general election, but no one's thinking about that. We're just talking about the Republican primary, and if we're talking about the Republican primary, this is probably good news for Trump.
All right, we'll see how all of this plays out. Dan Cassino, thank you so much for being here on Picks and Politics. Always good to have you and your expertise here.